Well, I think first of all you have to take a step back and look at what the issue is. From the outset, as you said, it looks like a dispute over a metal detector. You know, why are people getting so upset over that? Why are Palestinians and Muslims refusing to go to the Haram al-Sharif to pray? But really this is about the continued Israeli sovereignty over East Jerusalem, their settlement enterprise in East Jerusalem, the colonialisation there. And it's not only in the old city, the Haram al-Sharif, it's also in the neighbourhoods expanding beyond that. So, I mean, there's a long list, as we know, of Palestinian grievances against Israeli practices in East Jerusalem. Discrimination from everything from, you know, planning, construction, Palestinians wanting to build, wanting to expand their houses, their neighbourhoods, Israel moving more and more Israelis into Palestinian East Jerusalem. So every time there's a change like this, particularly on such a sensitive site, as we just heard, this is the third holiest site in Islam, Palestinians start to get very upset, supported by the wider Muslim community. Countries like Turkey start to speak out about it. But the issue of escalation, I guess we'll have to wait and see. There's really another 3 days until Friday prayers, and that's when things could, of course, really start to kick off. But often, from the Palestinian perspective, they call for these days of rages. You know, we hear them off and on throughout the year over all sorts of different issues. And sometimes there'll be a few hundred people, some stone throwing, a little bit of action. So far the violence has been low level that we've seen. It might pick up today. It could get bigger on Friday. It's really very difficult to tell, and one of the reasons for that is Palestinians are also tired. They're fed up with, you know, with violence, with all of these issues. So often when there are big calls for rallies, they can often be a bit of a flop.
But when we in the media say they're out there protesting these new security measures, that they're angry at these metal detectors, it's pretty misleading. There is so much more to it than that. This really is an accumulation of years of frustration manifesting again.
That's what I said, and not only are we hearing for this sort of day of rage and protest in East Jerusalem and the West Bank, we also have Hamas in Gaza getting on board, calling for demonstrations there. So in terms of whether or not it will escalate and how far it could go, it is difficult to say. But, you know, as you said, it's not just about metal detectors. Right. It's not just about the status of East Jerusalem, the movement of settlers and Israelis into East Jerusalem. It's the ongoing occupation in the West Bank. It's the humiliation of even having to go through a metal detector on your way to such a holy site. And these are the kinds of humiliations that the Palestinians endure and suffer through on a daily basis. Hundreds of checkpoints trying to get from, you know, one part of their territory to another. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It's surprising we don't see more demonstrations, but they're so exhausted.